Hello, welcome to my show. This is it's a Decktic world. I am Gideon Deckert, and for those of you who may not know me, I am a Air Force person, but I'm also a dad of three and a husband. And the big things in my life are family, music, food, and helping people be more resilient. And so I'm going to kick it off today. We'll see how it goes. This is the trial run through. We'll roll it out and see how it goes, and then we'll go from there. So how I think it's going to start off, and what my plan to start things off I'm going to talk about music, talk about bands that I like, bands that have influenced me, bands that I listen to all the time, and then I'm also going to talk just a quick hit little lesson, as it were, on resiliency, and that'll be really about it. So, thanks for watching, and hopefully you subscribe. Hopefully you think it's worth your time. So let's get to it, right? So I'm gonna just go over a couple bands each time that I like, and some songs that I like, and why they're meaningful to me. And then I'll get to the resiliency stuff there at the end. So straight out of the gate, the first two bands I'm going to hit up today are Built to Spill and REM. For me, Built to Spill is a band that I listened to and found in high school. That was just this really awesome indie rock outfit that I had no real background on or anything like that. It's four guys from Twin Falls, Idaho, but they're just supremely good rock music. And for me, I think I probably found out about them from Casey Champion at a CD warehouse. The first album that I bought of theirs was Normal Years, which is kind of like a comp of all their old stuff, I think. And so, the songs that I have on the playlist that I'm going to talk about at the end as well are Joyride, which is a song that it's from Normal Years. I listened to that album for 10 hours straight when I was doing my senior year research paper on repeat, just bam, bam, bam. And Joyride's just a good, fun song. Still Flat, again, off of Normal Years. And it's just got a great beat to it. It also, like, the breakdown at the end, it has horns in it, which, for a rock band, it's not a ska song, but it has horns in it. Interesting, I think. Excuse me. Carry the Zero, which is off of not Normal Years, but that's a song that reminds me a lot of Monterey, my time there. I'll get to my time in Monterey probably another episode. But with Alex Benton skating around, listening to this just fantastic album. Also off that album was You Were Right, which is just a great song because it has all of these lyrics from all these classic rock songs in there. And it's like, you were wrong when you said, all these things, and then it was like, you were right, and at the end and stuff like that. It's just really awesome song. I can't recommend it enough. And then the last two that I would recommend you to listen to, and they're on the playlist as well, are Going Against Your Mind and Conventional Wisdom. That's off of the album You in Reverse, and that album came out when I was in Monterey, and I think it came out maybe in April, maybe in May. I just remember buying it, and I drove down to Orange County and then to Santa Barbara to see my grandma and to see a friend of mine, and just rocking that album out, and then listening to Going Against Your Mind with my friends, Emily, and it was just this awesome experience because we had been friends before I went to the military, and music was kind of our common denominator there. And it just brought, and music does that, right? It brings people together, and that's something that's awesome, I think, about music. Conventional Wisdom is just another great, fun song. Funny story about Built to Spill. So, like I said, I'm in the Air Force. I've been in 15 and a half years now. And, I was working in Korea a couple years ago, and I worked with Navy people, Marines, Air Force, so on and so forth. And we got this new sailor in, and we were talking one day about just being dads. He's a dad as well. And having our kids rock out to music and stuff like that. We were really just relating and bonding on that. And he was like, yeah, so my dad's in a band. And I'll be honest, somebody says that, I think like local band, like, Saturday night bar cover band. I'm like, oh, that's cool, And so I asked him, I was like, well, would it be anybody that I might know? And he was like, well, maybe. Have you ever heard of Built to Spill? Yeah, I have. And so it turns out that his dad is Brett Nelson from Built to Spill, and so I sat there just blown away for about 5 minutes, like, what? That is your dad? Oh my God. And it's just a really small world, Again, music connecting us was really neat. And the fact that his dad played in the band that one of my just most favorite bands, and was responsible for some just really cool bass lines and stuff is really cool. So that's all for Built to Spill. Go check them out. You won't regret it, I promise. Next band for me was a band that I got into in high school. My uncle gave me this whole, just these, probably 300, 400 cassettes of music that when I was a sophomore in high school. And I'd heard REM, I'd heard It's in the World as We Know It, and I think it's a great song. But, and he gave me this all these cassettes, and so I sat there for it seemed like the entire summer just listening to music, just listening to all these bands that I still listen to today. And REM was one of them. And, say what you will about Michael Stipe, or, a lot of people, at least in Texas growing up, there were stereotypes, and there were, people felt a certain way about certain lifestyles. I don't care, for me personally. Like, his music's fantastic, his lyrics are fantastic, and all of his songs are relatable, so that's all I cared about. And so I got into REM, and they helped me out through high school. They helped me out through not necessarily feeling like I fit in at the school that I was at. So to start them off of Monster, Strange Currencies, which I think was probably just like a teenage angst song for me, probably having a crush on a girl and wanting to sing all these lyrics and that be what I told, and not being able to do it. It just is what it is. The next song, I didn't put the albums on here, so you're just gonna have to bear with me, or just go look at the playlist. But is Night Swimming, and that's a song that I remember just as a the 16-year-old just driving around to in Fort Worth, and the summer I got my license, just driving around and listening to REM extensively, and listening to Night Swimming with the windows down in my car at night, when Texas is bearable, like when it's only like 80 degrees at night, 70 degrees at night, and just listening to Night Swimming. It's just a beautiful song, and it really, listening to it now, it's kind of one of those songs of just one of those coming of age songs, I think. And so, great song. Near Walled Heaven, that's off of Out of Time, I know that. It's just a perfect road trip song. It's a song that if you have multiple people that can sing multiple parts, it's a great song to do that to, because it's just a fantastic song, well put together, and it holds up. I can put it in now, or put it on Spotify now, and still just do that, and It's a great song. No one will convince me otherwise. The Sidewinder Sleeps Tonight is another one. It's just a fun song because if you know the Michael Stipe way of dancing, where he's just kind of shaking his arms around and stuff like that, it's a fun song to do that too. Shiny Happy People. If you can listen to that song and be angry, I don't know what to tell you. It's also fantastic because it's got not only Michael Stipe on there, but it has the chick from the B-52s on there as well. And talk about a power duo that was just, I wish they had made their own. I wish they had a side project and made their own CDs, because it would have been fantastic. Nothing else to say about that song. And then the last song for this right now is going to be Cuyahoga. And that's off of Life's Rich Pageant. It's just a fantastic song. I think it's a perfectly constructed pop song. Builds slow, and then just really ends well. And I think that's most REM songs, honestly. I know they're weird. I know they have their own weird stuff, but most of the time they're fantastic. Can't miss band. So I will continue. Basically what I'm going to do is 2 bands each time, I think. And I will do that. I'll run through probably 5 or 6 songs for each band. And I'm putting putting together a playlist. And it'll be, I'll link it in the description, I think. I'm still new to all of this. So bear with me. But yeah, I think I'll put it in the playlist, or I'll put it in the description, so you guys, I'll just add it every time, so that people want to go back and listen. They can listen to the songs, and they can just kind of, have a peek into my brain if that's something people want to do. That's up to you guys. It's whatever. But sorry, I'm endeavoring to do multiple things at one time, and that usually doesn't ever turn out very well. So, enough of the music. I also want to just focus on some resiliency stuff, because it is a hard time right now. A lot of people are struggling. A lot of people are having a hard time. This is really an unprecedented thing for most everybody, unless you were alive in 1918. And if you're using YouTube and following my channel and were born before 1918, welcome. But no, I think for most of us, this is just a crazy time. I'm fortunate enough that I get to work at home. I'm fortunate enough that I get to continue to do most of what I do here at home, and I'm really grateful for that. But I just want to do a quick lesson real quick, or just not only a lesson, just a quick talk on one of the main pillars of resiliency, which is gratitude. And people are like, well, what's that? Well, gratitude is defined as a sense of wonder, thankfulness, and appreciation for life. Everybody can say, well, thank you, or I'm grateful. Well, what are you grateful for? We'll go into that a little bit. How does it help you? How does having an attitude of gratitude help you? First of all, it builds optimism and positive emotions by paying attention to the good things. It doesn't mean that you ignore the bad things. We've all seen those people that were seemingly like, oh, there's never anything bad. Well, that's not what I'm trying to tell you. There will be bad stuff in this world, but trying to build those positive emotions and optimism is what gratitude is about. It helps you cope with daily hassles. I think a lot of people, including myself, have a lot of daily hassles right now. And, when you have an attitude of gratitude, it's going to help you cope, as opposed to being negative all the time. It improves your social relationships. Nobody likes to be around the person who's always angry and negative and just a downer. So that's a thing. Resilient people are not people that have fewer negative emotions. It's not like, well, that person is just born like that. They just don't have as much negativity in their life. That's not true. But rather, it's the people who feel more positive emotions, which means they're able to rebound from stress and adversity more easily. So, looking for the good in things instead of just going, well, whatever, everything's bad. Well, if you always think like that, you're always going to be like that. So why are some people negative like that? I mean, honestly, it's just a natural bias that we all have. It's a scientific fact. Studies have been done on it. It's natural to remember the negative things. In some ways, that's kept us alive, being naturally negative, survival, fight or flight instincts, so that's helped us. But that's not where you need to stay, right? I'll give you an example. Who on here remembers your first A? First A you ever got? Probably not, right? But I guarantee most people on here remember their first F. I do. Mrs. Humber's math class. But I don't want to stay on that. So positive emotions are the fuel for resiliency. They help us focus, they help us be more creative, and they counteract that negativity bias that I talked about. Basically, if you're thinking about the negativity bias as a spiral down, when you think about positive stuff, it stops you and helps you start doing an upward spiral. When you're thinking about when you're being grateful, you start going on, you find the good things, and you start spiraling up. That's what you want to do, right? That's what I want to do. That's what we all want to do. So, I challenge you all. I want to know what's something from the past few days that you're grateful about. And I want to know, what went well, why it's meaningful to you, and how other people contributed to it. If you want to, if you're cool with it, post it in the comments. I want to see it. I want to know. I want to hear. I want to be able to share that good news with you and celebrate with you on that. So for me, I'll give you my example. My thing that I'm grateful for over the past few days has just been, I've been grateful for my boss. And he's pushed me out of my comfort zone. And it originally kind of pissed me off, and I felt like, oh, he's saying I don't work hard. No, he wasn't saying I don't work hard. I was grateful that he is forcing me to develop myself. He's forcing me to get out of my comfort zone because I'm learning a lot about myself, and I'm doing things that I could have done a long time ago and just put off. So I do want to say thank you to Mr. Roger Hall. He probably won't watch this, but I'm grateful for him. I'm grateful for him investing time in me to help me out. So let me hear from you guys. I want to know what you say. Last thing, this is going to be a week, every time I do it, is going to be the Amigo shout out. Bow, 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 bow. Thank you to my daughter Julie for the artwork on this. I'm just going to give a shout out to a friend each time. This one out of the gate is going to be Daniel Hart, who I've known since I was in 8th grade. He's been more my de facto big brother. He's been there through a lot of the good times, a lot of the bad times as well. And he's just a really good friend of mine. He cuts hair fantastically. If you live in the DFW area, once all this is lifted, you go hit him up. He'll take care of your hair for you, and you'll look fantastic. But he's also just a great dude. So thanks to everybody, and hopefully there will be more of these. I'm going to go enjoy the rest of my Saturday evening. Y'all be good and be excellent.